history. Newcastle United defending the tunnel end, the end at which their supporters are gathered. They will kick off in their black and white striped shirts, black shorts and white stockings. Manchester United defending the goal to the right as the whistle is blown by the referee Peter Jones. Red shirts, white shorts and black stockings. And it's with Gary Neville as Newcastle lose possession after kicking off, and Neville just the ball forward and all the way through to Steve Harper. It's quite a while, Jimmy Arfield, since we had a cup final, an FA Cup final to talk about properly, 1990 really. So one since had been forgettable.
Well, I think the thing about this one, Alan, as far as, the public are concerned, I think it would be something of a surprise, if Newcastle won. But in a cup final, anything can happen. Over the years, I've seen things happen. But for Newcastle, I feel they need to start well, and particularly the two central defenders.
Robert Lee plays the ball to Solano on the far side, then speed. Solano again. Domi, the Frenchman. Infield, good break by Newcastle. Solano. Back it goes to Robert Lee. 30 yards out, shoots, it deflects off David May, and it's a header by Kitsbayer, which just loops toward Peter Schmeichel, and the first bellowing from the Dane.
Yes, I was going to say, I think the two central defenders need to start well, because, they've not been together for a while. Trevor's had this injury, of course. And the other thing which I feel is crucial is the midfield players, Speed and Imam. They've got to get hold of that centre field. I don't think they can let Roy Keane and Scholes start to dictate that area, otherwise Beckham and Giggs will start coming into it, and the front players.
A slightly inauspicious start, because we haven't played a minute and a half. We need a new ball. You think we'd check this out before kick-off, wouldn't you? Anyway, it's a free kick to Manchester United. There must have been a foul by Kitsbayer on the edge of the United penalty area. Remember that for commentary purposes, though there are two Uniteds playing here today, Manchester United are always known as United, Newcastle United known as Newcastle, so we don't mean any offence by referring to Newcastle and United. And United have the ball. Schmeichel, left-footed, clearance to the halfway line. Hamann, who won the German Cup final with Bayern Munich last season, heads it down to Lee. Back it goes to Griffin. Infield to Lee again. Griffin once more. Hit long for Alan Shearer. Ronnie Johnson is there, and the ball eludes both of them and rushes through to Schmeichel.
I think one thing is important. I think Newcastle will come in. I don't think they'll be holding out here at all. Manchester United, I suppose one or two of them just might have a thought about next Wednesday, but I think Newcastle, it's the way football is played. Come on, they were saying they've got Wednesday to think about. This is our big final. Let's get into him right away.
Now, I didn't see the incident concern, but Roy Keane is definitely limping at the moment from Manchester United inside the centre circle.
Well, he's had an ankle injury, remember, Alan, about a couple of weeks ago, and he got involved with the tackle down here with Imam, and he's come off as well. He's got a bit of a knock as well on the side of his leg.
Yeah, his problem's a thigh, and that looks bruised already. He's lifted his shorts very high, so we can't miss that. And Keane is limping. Imam's back on. Free kick for Newcastle, played into the United penalty, and it's Solano with a shot, and Schmeichel fumbled initially and then pounced on it as Kitsbayer rushed in.
Great volley by Solano, but he's a good kicker of the ball, Solano. I've seen him, strike balls from distance. That was really well taken. Keane's struggling, Alan, here.
Keane's definitely got a problem, and on the bench, remember, as the ball is back with Steve Harper, they haven't actually, well, I suppose Blomqvist can play down the left, and Giggs to be drawn inside alongside Scholes if Keane is forced off. But there's no Nicky Butt. The clearance upfield by Harper to the far side. We played 3.5 minutes. Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0 in the 118th FA Cup final. Shearer to Solano. Infield, headed on by Speed towards Kitsbayer. Headed clear by Manchester United, and Keane lifts that away, and he is definitely in trouble. I can't see Roy Keane continuing in this game.
No, but he's had this ankle injury, Alan, about a couple of weeks ago, and they brought him back for the last game, and he was really struggling then. He came back last week and he looked good.
I'll tell you this is such a blow for Manchester United and such a boost for Newcastle, because everyone knows how much Roy Keane will be missed in Barcelona on Wednesday night, and if he's forced off here after a couple of minutes at Wembley, Newcastle's advantage.
Yes, it's hard to see just how bad his injury is at the moment, but he's got a bit of a limp. Certainly they're trying to treat him on the field. I don't know why they don't treat them off the field, as they're supposed to do, but there we are.
There's been a wicket in the cricket. England 2 for 1. 2 for 1 against South Africa, needing 226 to win. It was a challenge from Gary Speed, I gather, that led to Roy Keane's injury. He's had treatment, but he's still limping. Play continues, though. 4 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. It's played from the Newcastle left to their right. Lee, back to Andy Griffin, who didn't play in the cup final last season because he was cup-tied, having played in the earlier rounds for Stoke City. But Griffin will be very important this afternoon, looking after Ryan Giggs. Harper hits the clearance upfield. Good header infield by Shearer to Kitspire. Back to Speed. On towards Solano. Tackled by Gary Neville. And the ball breaks to Ryan Giggs. And Manchester United haven't got going yet. And now it's back with Phil Neville inside his penalty area. Under pressure and tackled by Haman. Haman seemed to catch him. And Peter Jones is saying that's a yellow card offence. The German's been booked.
Well, it was a tackle in there. I mean, so really, I think he should have just given a free kick there. I mean, so Philip Neville's all right. I think that's a sort of a warning shot there, really, more than anything else. Alec Ferguson is on the side of the pitch, but it was a foul. But right away, he's given the free kick and a yellow card. That's a blow for them, really, to get a yellow card from Mam so early on.
I'm not inclined to disagree, though, with Peter Jones, who is definitely one of the finest referees we've got in this country, and a very fair man. Free kick to Manchester United, just a foot to the left of their penalty area, and Schmeichel will take it. And keep an eye out for Keane, who's running a little more freely now, but still in trouble. He's got the ball inside the centre circle, and he hacks it on to Beckham, and Beckham, the goal is offside. And Manchester United, as I say, haven't got going yet, and they've hardly had the ball inside the Newcastle half.
No, they haven't. Let's be careful here. Beckham there, he definitely dived over. You know, Peter Jones is going to have to watch this, because he quite clearly recognises that Newcastle are coming in, and he's got to weigh all this up as a referee. It isn't easy. He can't always read players' minds.
Teddy Sheringham has got his tracksuit bottoms off. This will be an interesting change. Harper with a free kick for Newcastle United. We've played 7 minutes, and it's 0-0 in the cup final at Wembley. Shearer heads it on again. May, who's played in 6 of Manchester United's last 8 games, lifts it away. May couldn't get a Premiership medal because he didn't play in enough games. But how important will he be in these remaining games of the season? And Ryan Giggs comes forward now, plays the ball towards Andy Cole, intercepted by Domi, and it needs to be cleared, and Sharvey's but very careless inside his penalty area, creating panic there in the Newcastle ranks, and finally it's hit away to safety by Harper.
Great cover by Domi. He came right across very quickly. He's a sharp lad. I saw him play for France at under 18 level, and he's a good player. That was well covered.
Beckham's foot was a bit high, but fair. Played back to Gary Neville, now to Scholes, on towards Solskjaer. I don't think Solskjaer has touched the ball yet. It's put out of play by Davizas, and it's a throw into United. Manchester United on the far side. Beckham takes it to Gary Neville. Now Paul Scholes. Scholes onto the edge of the penalty area. Sheringham's definitely going to come on. What switch is entailed here, Jimmy?
Well, I would think really Keane is going to come off quite clearly, I would think, because he's hobbling around in the middle of the field, and it's going to be Sheringham who's going to come on. He can play in that deep role. He can play in that area. I think first of all he will try and play him in that centre, and he'll tell Scholes to do the holding role a little bit more, I would think, and then Sheringham will be freer to go on. Well, we'll see.
Well, Roy Keane's had well publicised problems this week, but this is a very difficult end of the season for him. Can't play because of suspension on Wednesday evening in the European Cup final, and now hobbles off after 8 minutes of the FA Cup final. The Manchester United skipper out of action for the rest of the season. Sheringham is on.
Beckham's coming to the middle. Beckham's coming to the middle of the field, Alan.
Gary Neville with a throw-in. Sheringham heads it on into the Newcastle penalty area. Only half cleared. Solskjaer left-footed volley, well wide of goal.
Right, I think the changes are going to be what he's got now, or it looks to be to me. Beckham's going to come in and play.
Solskjaer's going wide right.
Yeah, Solskjaer will play down the right. Sheringham will play at the middle with Cole, and then you'll get this Beckham, Scholes, Giggs, Solskjaer playing on the right-hand side.
And we played 9 pretty eventful minutes. Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0 in the cup final at Wembley Stadium. You're listening to 5 Live in the BBC's World Service. Harper with a goal kick for Newcastle, just drifts beyond Gary Neville and Alan Shearing and colleagues, and it's out of play on the far side of the field for a throw-in to Manchester United. Midway inside their own half. They haven't got any fluency yet, Manchester United.
No, the game's not untidy. It's been broken up, really. A keen injury, a booking, both teams going at it.
Beckham. And the referee spotted a foot high by Gary Speed, I think, on Solskjaer. So it's a free kick to Manchester United, a yard short of the halfway line, right of the centre circle. The ball is now played into the centre circle to Scholes. Scholes back to David May. May forward to Cole. Cole does well to evade two challenges. Finds Teddy Sheringham, though I think he was playing it to Ryan Giggs. Sheringham does well. On to Scholes. Sheringham into the penalty, and Sheringham has scored for Manchester United. He's only been on 2 minutes. 10 minutes played at Wembley Stadium. Schmeichel, delirious, away to the right. And Manchester United's outfield players group around the substitute Teddy Sheringham, who's put them in front on their way to a third double in 6 seasons. It's Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0.
Well, it was a lovely goal made by Sheringham and finished by Sheringham. Lovely, he beat two players to start with. Played it on to Scholes, and he went on the run. And I watched the two central defenders, and I did say it's important for those players to play well. And they didn't follow the run. And the ball was played inside. Goalkeeper came out. Teddy Sheringham 1 against 1. He's very good at that. Excellent goal.
And maybe I'm wrong, Jimmy, but I was thinking before kick-off that for the neutral, for us up here, what the cup final needed was Newcastle to score first. Well, they are going to struggle now against Manchester United. We'll see. Lee lifts the ball forward. May heads it away. Haman fouls Beckham and then protests as the decision is given. Remember, Haman's been booked already.
I think the referee's been a bit fussy. I think he's trying to make his point here, Alan. I think Haman was entitled to go for that ball then.
By the way, did you think Cole meant to aim the pass at Sheringham? I thought he hit it more firmly than that, was trying to play it to Giggs.
Tried to play, and Sheringham intercepted it, really.
And did really well. Ball played away to the far side and headed away by Domi towards the halfway line. Gary Neville is there and plays it back. It doesn't touch David May. Schmeichel out of his penalty area to clear. And Schmeichel hits it straight out of play on the far side of the field. It'll be a throw into Newcastle United, who are stunned by that Sheringham goal. And, you know, he survived the taunts last season. Teddy Sheringham, Teddy. What is it? Oh, Teddy. Went to Man United and he didn't win much. And now he was involved in the Premiership triumph last Sunday against his old side, Tottenham Hotspur, and he scored in the FA Cup final here against Newcastle. Manchester United lead 1-0. Shearer jumps, though, edge of the penalty, the United penalty area. It bounces off the top of the England captain's pate and through the Peter Schmeichel.
Well, Newcastle so far, they can't get Solano and Lee into the game, really. Ball hasn't been, to be fair to Lee, it hasn't been much on this side of the field. Just need to settle down now. The last thing they needed was to concede a goal after 10 minutes.
You're listening to the BBC 5 Live and World Service. Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0. Robert Lee, who could be playing his final game for the club, plays it over the halfway line to Alan Shearer, and Shearer is fouled by Paul Scholes. England College, the two of them, and it's a free kick to Newcastle, just 3 or 4 yards inside the Manchester United half. Have they changed the ball again?
No.
Almost.
Better be careful, we're running out of it.
Not surely. Speed with a free kick to Davizas over the halfway line on the far side. That's the Newcastle left. Manchester United with everyone behind the ball now. The pressure is off, if the pressure was ever seriously on. The team who've already won the Premiership title for the 5th time in just 7 seasons. May clears towards Ryan Giggs. It drops kindly for Newcastle, and Robert Lee is the ball. 13 minutes played at Wembley. Manchester United 1, Newcastle 0. Poor clearance by Charvet, and Solskjaer heads it out of play on the far side of the field. Graham Taylor, the Watford manager, whose team I saw progress to the playoff finals on Thursday night. He's sitting alongside us in the commentary position. Graham, what do you make of it so far?
Well, I mean, it was the first sort of thing, instant for Manchester United, and Teddy Sheringham there intercepted a pass that was meant for Giggs, but then showed tremendous skill. I think he nutmegged probably 2 of the players before layering up, and then wasn't picked up for his run and finished extremely well. What I would say is if Charvet keeps playing and keeps taking the risks that he is doing in the centre of the Newcastle goal, there will be more chances for Manchester United. I don't think that central partnership is right at all.
Now, there are some of us who feel that Charvet is particularly susceptible to pace. Anyway, we'll see.
I felt that was very important, Alan, these 2 central defenders. I felt that all along. If your central defenders are right, it makes such a difference to the rest of the team.
The ball drifts over Davizas' head and is cleared by Charvet, those 2 Newcastle centre defenders. May heads it back into the centre circle. Sheringham who scored, heads it down towards Cole. Giggs is there as well, but the ball breaks to Speed, and Speed hacks it forward. Shearer is after it. Across comes Ronnie Johnson, gives the England captain a little nudge. Shearer holds him off well. Back to Lee. And Lee, 5 yards in from the right touchline, near side for Newcastle. Back to Kitspire, and now Griffin. Speed, Griffin again. Good ball on. And Robert Lee is onside, just to the right of the penalty here. The cross is beyond Schmeichel, the far post. Shearer gets ahead of the ball, but was he pushing Gary Neville? Yes, says referee Peter Jones, and it's a free kick.
Yes, I think he was right there. The ball was good play by Newcastle. For me, that's the best move so far. 2 or 3 passes together. That's what they needed. Griffin, a lovely ball to Lee. The cross was all right, but Shearer pushed Gary Neville on the back post.
England have lost another wicket in the cricket, and they're now 6 for 2. That's a bright start, lads. Needing 226 to beat South Africa. Ball's out of play on the far side of the field, and it's a Manchester United throw-in. And it's an amazing sight looking to the left, to where the majority of the Newcastle fans are seated, Jimmy. I mean, 99% of them must be wearing Newcastle shirts. It's an astonishing sight. I mean, what is the profit in that? But they're despondent at the moment. It's the Manchester Hordes who are singing, and Manchester United on the attack. Gary Neville with a deep cross into the Newcastle penalty, and again confusion amongst those defenders. Ball breaks to Giggs. Back to Beckham, now playing in the centre of midfield. Roy Keane is injured and off. Sheringham is on as substitute, and he scored. Giggs on towards Cole. Charvet knocks it away, and Speed lifts it to the halfway line, but only to Phil Neville, who's playing, of course, because Dennis Irwin is suspended. Solano intercepts, but Manchester have the ball back. Beckham, wide to Phil Neville. On to Ryan Giggs. Griffin's challenge was heavy, but fair, according to the referee, and then Beckham pulls down Kitspire, and that is a free kick to Newcastle, and Beckham's just being ticked off by Peter Jones. In fact, as he ran away, Peter's saying, you come back, just calm down.
What is the difference between that Chat Fallon's and that one of Hammond's? None. I think that's where the referee made his error earlier on. I think the referee's made a rub for his own back here.
17 minutes played, a clear difference of opinion between summariser and commentator about the quality of Peter Jones.
No, just his first match, I mean. First few minutes. I think that's where referee's making a problem for themselves. He booked a man, and he didn't book Beckham. I think he should be consistent. That's what players ask for.
Griffin with a throw-in for Newcastle, midway inside the Manchester half, and gets it back off Lee. Lee once more. Speed available. Gary Speed dinks it forward, only half cleared. Dietmar Hamann approaching the D, on to Solano, back towards Hamann, stubbed away by Scholes, picked up by Speed, and then that's a foul by Solskjaer. It's certainly a free kick, and I wonder if it's a yellow card. No.
Well, I wouldn't give a yellow card for that.
Why not?
Well, I just think he came in, he'd every right to go for the ball. The fella's come in, I think he's all right. I don't think the chap's as injured as he's lying down there. I think it's
the player, Jim.
Just a free kick. It's just a free kick. But you see, by booking the player earlier on, that's the problem he's made for himself. He set the standard.
Manchester United might have a problem here. Dietmar Hamann has a terrific right foot. Solano is there as well, but surely it's the German. And there's a little contretemps in the Manchester wall. Shearer disturbing. Solano takes the free kick, and it's over the crossbar, and Schmeichel had it covered all the way.
Yes, it was fairly well struck, but really not one of his better ones. I've seen him strike some lovely balls from that distance. I think the important thing really now for Manchester United is just to settle down. I think that's what the shout was just from the bench a moment ago. Just settle down, try and get into the new format. They've got the experience to do it. Sheringham, he can come on and play this role, no problem whatsoever.
Goal kick to Manchester United. Nearly 19 minutes played here on 5 Live in the World Service. Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0 in the FA Cup final. And here's the goal scorer, Sheringham, heading into Scholes, almost on the centre spot, and Scholes clipped by Hamann, and he's got to be very careful, the German. That's a free kick to Manchester United, and Teddy Sheringham sticking his oar in, saying, hey, that's another foul by him, and you've already booked him. I think the referee knows it, Teddy. Beckham with a free kick, and drifted towards the left, towards Giggs. Griffin heads it away, but not powerfully. Giggs down to Sheringham, 20 yards out. Great tackle from Gary Speed. Ball breaks to Giggs. Giggs crossed too deep for Andy Cole, and Scholes chases across there. Solano is back helping out his defence, and Solano runs it away to the far touchline, and then cleverly plays it off Scholes, and it's a Newcastle throw.
Well, Scholes, of course, who knows he won't be playing against Bayern Munich, he's really covering some ground. He's working overtime here. He's really motored up and down that right-hand side quite a few times already, and he went all the way across then to close Newcastle down.
By the way, I meant to say something else before kick-off and didn't. usual, very forgetful these days. No penalties to decide this, lads, eh? Settle it in extra time, if not normal time. But let's not have an FA Cup final decided by penalties. Manchester United lead 1-0. Solskjaer on towards the edge of the Newcastle penalty, and Charvet took that as well on his mid-drift and cleared left-footed. Knocked back by Ronnie Johnson, and Leamas controls it. Teddy Sheringham in there again, as is a man. Sheringham wins. Back to Scholes. Giggs. Good play by Manchester United. Sheringham. Giggs again. Cole in the penalty area. Giggs down the left. Helped by Phil Neville. It's stick towards Phil Neville, whose cross is lifted towards the near post, but straight into the arms of the goalkeeper, Harper.
Yes, Giggs' pass was just a little tentative, really, with one or two players snapping at him, young Griffin, and he laid it out down the left-hand side. It was going to be a very awkward ball for Philip Neville.
Steve Harper, the Newcastle goalkeeper, hits the clearance over the halfway line. Shearer claims he was fouled by Johnson. Not given. Sheringham to Giggs. On to Cole, and Cole tried to play it back to the Welshman, who was running freely through, but Newcastle take it off Manchester United again. Lee, poor ball forward. Johnson with a header down to Scholes. Beckham and Scholes again. 20 yards short of the halfway line, and as he tried to play it with the outside of his right foot, speed intercepted and deflects it away out of play for a throw-in to the Manchester side. Already champions and leading 1-0 in the Cup final, and a mere matter of Barcelona in the European Cup final coming up in 4 days' time. Phil Neville with a throw-in onto the head of Giggs, and Sheringham towards Beckham. Good play once more. They are smoothly into gear, Manchester United now. Sheringham to Cole. He's tackled by Davizas, and the ball goes out of play, but the fluency is now in their play, Jimmy. That goal really has settled them very well.
Yes, they knocked the ball around well, of course, and they're confident they've won the Premiership. That itself is a terrific boost coming.
Great throwing by Phil Neville. Magnificent control by Giggs, but then he attempted, I think it was a shot rather than a cross to Cole, and it's through to the goalkeeper, Harper.
I'm not sure what it was really, but he right-footed it anyway, right into Harper's hands. But I'm saying, I think, to come here with the Premiership already in the bag, you're confident already, and I think that's, one of the key issues. And to get the early goal, it just adds to the confidence factor.
Domi to Solano, and now Charvet ahead of the centre circle inside the Manchester half. Solano, good run by Domi down the left, and Solano looking to pick him out. Gary Neville's close by and should have got there first, but didn't. Can Domi control it? The ball is still in play, edge of the penalty area, and now it's headed behind by Gary Neville. The referee, Peter Jones, I think, has spotted a little nudge by Domi. It's a free kick to Manchester United, who lead 1-0. We're at the midway point in the first half, and here's Michael Ingham.
Well, it occurs to me, Alan, that the FA Cup can always come up with first, even now, even after 118 finals. I can't believe that a substitute before an FA Cup final has come on and scored so quickly as Sheringham has here today. And it would be heartbreaking for those Newcastle fans to be empty-handed for the second year running. But still time for them to come back, but now they're having to defend a free kick down this near side. Foul by Griffin, who's actually come out of that a lot worse, and Peter Jones is just looking after him and beckons for the physiotherapist to come on. So, injury to Griffin down the near side. And Jimmy Armfield, all the talk over the last few weeks about Roy Keane missing the European Cup final, ironically, he probably would anyway now.
With an ankle injury, yes. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't that injury he had before, that he was suffering with a couple of weeks ago. But it's a shame, really, for a player to go out of cup finals. I've seen quite a few over the years. It's when they get here and then, they don't complete. But anyway, I don't know how bad young Griffin is here.
He's okay, I think. He's okay. And so a free kick to Manchester United, leading 1-0 in the cup final against Newcastle. 5 Live and BBC World Service. Live from Wembley. David Beckham now playing in central midfield. Clips in the free kick with the right foot, and Sheringham's there again, getting up above everybody else, heading it just wide of the target. And of course, he will be a threat in the air, Teddy Sheringham.
Well, at this moment, he's the key player. He wasn't in the original starting lineup. We've been on the field for about 25 minutes. How many minutes? 25 minutes almost, and he's the key player now, because the balls are being knocked into him. That was a lovely free kick from Beckham. And Sheringham timed his run to perfection. Got his head onto it. Not enough, though.
Graham Taylor with us today, of course, gave Sheringham his international debut. And Manchester United looking very strong at the moment. Gary Neville at right back, no way forward. We've got the brothers playing out there today, so it's like the Greenoffs and the Comptons and the Harrises in days gone by. The two brothers, Philip and Gary, playing for Manchester United, leading 1-0 in the sunshine at Wembley. And Manchester United, it keeps coming back to them now. They're winning most of the things in midfield, and it might run out to Andy Cole. Out comes the goalkeeper. He gets there first, does Harper. clatters into Andy Cole. Peter Jones has blown his whistle. And let me give you the latest from the cricket. Not very good from England's point of view. 9 for 2 after 5 overs. South Africa earlier 225 for 7. The target 226 at the Oval, and England are 9 for 2. Jimmy Armfield.
Andy Cole just went a little bit early there. He was well offside, about 4 or 5 yards at the end. Young Harper hasn't had anything to do really so far. Just one shot from Giggs that went right into his midriff, across from young Philip Neville on the left-hand side. But he came out there, read it very well. He played what I call the averages game. He was making sure he thought Cole was offside.
And here he comes. He can't be superstitious. He's a goalkeeper wearing 13 in an FA Cup final. Here comes the free kick for Newcastle, looking for Shearer. Well won, though, by Ronnie Johnson, and cleared well up in the air by Paul Scholes. It hasn't gone very far at all. May tries to clear it, and eventually Manchester United get the ball back to the halfway line. Domi's there down the left-hand side, finding Solano. Nice turn from him to the leggy Haman. Haman manages to ride the first challenge from Beckham. Finds Ketsbaia. Ketsbaia doesn't control it, though. And Johnson's able to give the back pass to Schmeichel, who clears hurriedly to the far side for a Newcastle throw-in. Much better from Newcastle.
Well, that was a half chance, really. If Ketsbaia had taken the ball, first touch, he would have been with a chance.
Throw-in taken. It's Domi down the far side, playing a 1-2 off a couple of Manchester United players. Domi back to Solano. Solano tries to snake the ball through to Ketsbaia. Cleared by May, but better from Newcastle. Griffin now, finding Shearer, who finds Robert Lee down the near side. Shearer makes his way towards the penalty area. Big ball comes in from Griffin. Not high enough, though. May's there with the clearance, and the clearance is completed by Giggs. But Newcastle in the black and white win it, and the supporters away to our left look like a huge army, a huge herd of zebras away to our left, now looking on and looking a little more hopeful, perhaps, as Newcastle start to get some possession. The ball is with Gary Speed, who's playing at the back at the moment. That's a poor one across to the far side. He makes Griffin backtrack around about 10 yards, and Griffin can't go forward. He's closed down by Ryan Giggs, and gives the ball back again to the man from County Durham away to our left. Steve Harper in the Newcastle goal. Right-footed clearance from him. Aimed towards Shearer. Shearer takes the tumble, but he's backing into Ronnie Johnson, and the free kick is given to Manchester United.
Yes, it's an interesting confrontation here between Johnson and Shearer. Of course, he'll stand his ground. Johnson's standing his ground as well. The referee's got to weigh it all up. It's not easy. I think he's right there. I think Shearer was backing into Johnson.
27 minutes gone in the Cup final, live from Wembley on 5 Live and BBC World Service. Manchester United chasing the double, chasing the treble, leading 1-0 through Teddy Sheringham's goal. And here comes the free kick taken by Schmeichel. And Andy Cole's jumping on the 6-yard line. Cole's not giving this one up. He managed to get a volley in there, but Harper was waiting. And again, those central defenders not too convincing when the questions were being asked of them inside the penalty area. Harper's clearance now. Remember, Steve Howie is not available to Ruud Gullit today. He's a long-term absentee, and they do miss him. Eventually, the ball trickles out of play down below on the halfway line. Philip Neville in Dennis Irwin's position. Of course, that was an option lost to Ferguson today when Keane came off. He couldn't put Philip Neville into central midfield because Dennis Irwin is suspended. Manchester United don't get very far from that throw-in. And now Andy Griffin, the former Stoke player, has a throw-in down this near side. This is the Royal Box side of Wembley. Newcastle's right in the first half. They're trailing 1-0 to a Sheringham goal. Shearer this time gets the free kick. And thought about taking it quickly. He'll leave it in the end, though, to Haman. The ball was kicked away there by Giggs. Has to be careful. And the free kick is just nudged off by Haman to Andy Griffin down the Newcastle right. He did so well against Genoa in the semi-final. Lee now. Lee's being forced back well by Philip Neville. And then Lee gets the pass all wrong into midfield. Cole on the halfway line, trying to slip round his marker. But Newcastle get a good ball to the far side. Domi finding Gary Speed, running from the deep. Speed hits a long one, aimed towards Shearer, and the flag is up near side. Shearer penalised. Free kick to Manchester United on the edge of their own area. Almost half an hour gone, and Manchester United leading 1-0.
Yes, I don't think there's a great deal in the game. I don't think Manchester United are that superior or anything at the moment. There's just been that one slip in Newcastle's defence, not picking up the runner. Excellent play, though, by Sheringham and Scholes that brought the goal that's separating the teams.
Here comes the free kick, away to our right, taken by Peter Schmeichel in the Manchester United goal. Sheringham this time is beaten in the air by Davisas, who played in the Cup final last year. Scholes is crowded out, and in come some really good challenges from Newcastle. Eventually, though, it doesn't run their way, and Manchester United flip the ball down this near side. And it's a rather tatty bit of play, and then a long one from Giggs is wasted. And Harper's there to clear for Newcastle. Newcastle trailing 1-0. The ball is with Griffin down the near side. He can't go forward. He was played into trouble, really, by his keeper. Now his keeper clears, and this ball will reach the halfway line. Haman's header, he got a bit too much underneath that one, but Haman now on the floor this time. Haman hits it strongly down the right-hand side, looks for Ketspire, across comes Ronnie Johnson, playing in his first cup final, and it's out of play. There's a free kick been given, I think,
against Ketspire. He hasn't done a kick yet.
No, he hasn't.
Ketspire, he can't get in the game at all.
Can I just remind you, in case you haven't been with us right from the start, the subs today: Shea Given, Warren Barton, Silvio Maric, Duncan Ferguson, Stephen Glass for Newcastle, Raymond van der Houw, Dwight York, Jesper Blomqvist and Jaap Stam for Manchester United, with Sheringham having come on already. And we've now played exactly half an hour.
Well, if I was Ruud Gullit, I'd get Ketspire coming from the deep for a little bit.
Now the ball is with Solskjaer. Sheringham, nice touch from Sheringham. Beckham 30 yards out, drives it wide. That's a goal kick to Newcastle, away to the left. So exactly a third of the game gone, and let's hear again from our guest today, Graham Taylor, the manager of Watford. Graham, what are your latest thoughts?
Well, Mike, I don't think either side has got into any real rhythm at all. I do believe that Newcastle have got to play with more purpose and more conviction to be able to bring this back. Whereas Manchester United, basically, I think they've moved the ball about that little bit better, but they haven't really had a cutting edges yet. So I still think the game has got somewhere to go yet before it really takes off.
Shearer, thank you, Graham, near side. Shearer taking on Johnson. Johnson doing very well, but that's going to be a free kick now to Newcastle. It's a mix here of sunshine and clouds. It's sunny at the moment, and Wembley looks a picture. You always associate FA Cup finals with sunshine and here comes a Newcastle free kick down the near side, and here's a chance. Charvet goes into the area. Dabisas as well, the two centre-backs. And the free kick will be taken by the Peruvian Solano down the near side. Gary Speed's always quite dangerous in these situations. In it goes, and that's volleyed away by, in the end, Speed, I think it was. Johnson was pretty close by, and it's gone over the bar. It's a disappointing end product, no end product at all, really. And a goal kick to Manchester United.
Yes, it would have been spectacular if that had gone in. I was just saying earlier, I think if I was Ruud Gullit, try and get Ketspire in the game. I think he's good at running with the ball, Ketspire. If I was him, I'd just put him a little bit deeper and give May a bit of a problem. If he keeps lying up there, he's going to get picked up.
13 minutes to go in the first half. Not too distinguished at the moment, the game. Scholes to Sheringham. Where's the marking? Sheringham's unmarked, and the ball towards Solskjaer down the far side was a little short, but Beckham's won it back again. Beckham on the chase down the Manchester United right, settles for the throw-in, and they must get tighter on Teddy Sheringham, these Newcastle defenders. It's a throw to Manchester United. It's some 10 yards or so from the corner flag over on the far side, and they'll leave it for Gary Neville. Sheringham and Cole and Giggs all in the area, and now joining them is Solskjaer. Here comes the throw taken by Gary Neville. Sheringham, it doesn't get that one. It'll fall to Beckham, though. Beckham lifts it superbly. Back to Gary Neville down the Manchester United right. Chance to cross here by Gary Neville. Sheringham got a glancing header. He's headed it sideways. Giggs will keep it in down the near side. Hits it straight at Griffin. Gets it back again. And Giggs was hoping that would go out for a throw-in. Instead, he finds Sheringham. Volleyed in by Sheringham and cleared at the back by Newcastle United. Newcastle at times have been very vulnerable. Cole's there now, lifts the ball over Harper. Back comes Dabisas, and Cole couldn't get any power in the strike, and Dabisas was able to clear, but Newcastle all over the place. Clearance now by Newcastle, and that's going to go out of play.
Well, it was actually cleared off the line. The goalkeeper was beaten. If Cole had got anything on it at all, it'd have been 2-0. But he didn't. He only half hit it. That was a chance gone.
Chance for Manchester United and Andy Cole against his former club to put the game perhaps even now beyond Newcastle. Speed hits a long one. Ketspire's full of running down the left-hand side. Ketspire holds, faced by May. He's got Solano square. He's going all the way into the air at the moment, Ketspire. Needs support, drags it back, pull one into midfield. It still breaks to Speed, and that's too high. He snatched at it, and it's gone into the big area behind Schmeichel's goal.
Well, that was a good return, and Ketspire at last got a chance to run out to the left-hand side. I thought he'd have gone on his own, but he didn't. He checked back in, and I think that's because he's been out of the game for so long, for about half an hour. He's hardly been in the game. If he'd have had a bit of confidence, then he'd have gone on his own. He laid it back, and Newcastle couldn't provide that sort of finish because by then United had covered all the points.
Ruud Gullit orchestrating from the touchline, and now his team having to defend once more. Newcastle trailing here to a Teddy Sheringham goal. Sheringham coming on as a substitute after 8 minutes for Roy Keane. And you're listening to 5 Live and BBC World Service. Graham Taylor, the Watford manager, is with us as well, and we'll be hearing much more from him throughout the afternoon. Now, the ball is on the halfway line. They leave it to Gary Speed. Speed with a left foot, knocks it across to the far side. Again, didn't really reach its target first time, but Domi's there eventually down that left-hand side for Newcastle. Long, rather aimless ball, which should cut out for Manchester United. Lovely turn now by Gary Neville against Solano. Then he's brought down. Speed motions to the referee. It was a dive, but it's a free kick to Manchester United, who's still overall, Jimmy Armfield, are looking pretty comfortable here with 10 minutes left in the first half.
Well, I wouldn't say comfortable. They look slightly more comfortable than Newcastle, particularly at the back. And I think that's what's really going to matter here.
Gary Neville takes the free kick, strikes it long. Sheringham will try and flick this on for Cole. It's up in the air. Cole gets a knockdown, but Newcastle will clear this, playing from left to right, defending the tunnel end at Wembley and trailing here to that goal from Teddy Sheringham. Robert Lee takes plenty of time, and in the end he drags the ball back into his own half to find Griffin, the right back. Lee again, but there's no space for him now down below us. Philip Neville's doing well against Robert Lee, and it's out of play as Bullitt shows his skills and flicks the ball towards the young fullback Griffin, whose throw is aimed towards Ket Spire. 1-0 to Manchester United, the goal from Sheringham, and the ball now is with Charvet of Newcastle. Charvet, poor ball, cut out by Giggs, and a misunderstanding between Giggs and Sheringham, and Newcastle have another go. It's played into midfield. Nice touch off by Speed, but again, poor play from Charvet. Very hurried play from the Frenchman at the back. Charvet again now, hits it long. Shearer tries to cushion the header down to Ket Spire. Solano made a charge on the outside, but Ket Spire with good skill eventually brings Domi into the game down the left-hand side. Now it's Ket Spire once more. Rolling ball onto the German Hamann. Hamann gets past Scholes. Here's the shot from Hamann, and it's just kept out by Schmeichel. Schmeichel gets down rather late there. Perhaps he saw that one a little late. Got a fingertip to it. And low down, turns it away for a Newcastle corner. A deceptively good strike there by Dietmar Hamann.
Well, that's the best from Newcastle so far. Schmeichel was at full stretch to the left-hand post there. Lovely play, first of all, by Ket Spire. He's starting to creep into the game. That's good for Newcastle.
And it's a short corner, and they feed Solano. Solano can't get the cross, and he's hit Giggs on the backside. Comes back, though, to Robert Lee. The centre-backs have stayed forward following that corner. And Shearer's appealing there for a push. But Manchester United are able to clear to the far side, and it's going to be throw-in. So good strike there by Hamann. First German to play in the cup final since Bert Trautmann. And Bert Trautmann, of course, played against Newcastle for Manchester City in the 55 final when he was the loser, and then, of course, a year later dramatically won in the final against Birmingham City. Manchester United won, Newcastle 0. Sheringham's goal. Cole with a turn. Turns in towards Dabisas. Chases the ball back well, though, for his team, and then manages to thread it to Scholes. Starting his first cup final today, Paul Scholes. He was a sub on the other occasions. Manchester United this time lose the ball in midfield, and Hamann has little space. Again, the ball into Ket Spire was a bit short, makes him stretch. In comes a challenge from Beckham, and referee has given a free kick to Newcastle. 30 yards away from Schmeichel's goal, to the right as we look at it. And Hamann, having just put in that very good strike a few moments ago, might fancy this, or indeed Solano, who scored with a spectacular free kick at St James's Park earlier in the season. He might fancy this as well. Hamann's making a mark. This kick, as I say, is some 30 yards away from Schmeichel's goal in the sunshine at Wembley. 7 minutes left in the first half. Manchester United leading 1-0, but now having to defend this free kick. And it's going to be Hamann, and that's been spanked well wide in the end of the target. Poor free kick. Schmeichel just stares back at the German, and it's a goal kick to Manchester United.
I'm not convinced that was a shot at goal then. I think what he tried to do was drive the ball just wide of the wall, because Newcastle had two players running onto it, and it was going a little bit too fast for either of them. But at least there are one or two more positive signs for the Newcastle supporters. That was a good shot earlier from Imam, and Schmeichel's first real save.
A final still lacking real quality, though. 1-0 to Manchester United. And Solano in there for Newcastle. They mustn't concede another one before half-time now. It's Philip Neville for Manchester United, down the left-hand side. Short pass into Scholes. Back again to Philip Neville. Lovely switch from Sheringham. Good play by Manchester United. Solskjaer's drifted in field. Stabs the ball back to Beckham, working hard in central midfield. The ball goes to the far side. Lots of options open now. Gary Neville's early cross in. Sheringham with a header. Just wide. Great play by Manchester United. Sheringham holds his head, and that was so close.
Well, that was the best move of the match so far. I counted 8 passes from back to front. Lovely little exchange in the end between Beckham and Neville. Neville's such an important player now for Manchester United. And one thing I like about him and Beckham, they get this cross in early. They don't need a second touch. First cross in, Sheringham with header on the near post, just past the post.
That would have been a fantastic goal. Sheringham close to his second. 1-0 Manchester United lead. One of Sheringham's greatest games, of course, was here playing for England against Holland in Euro 96. He's got the goal dividing these two sides. And good teamwork again now from Manchester United as they move inside the Newcastle half, and some strong running down the left-hand side, initially by Philip Neville, and now Ryan Giggs takes over. Ryan Giggs with a left-footed ball in, which is too strong for Andy Cole. It's still in play down the left. And across comes Solano and works it very well down the line. And now Newcastle look to Dabisas to launch them from the back. 1-0 to Manchester United into the last 5 minutes of what's been overall a disappointing first half. But Alex Ferguson won't mind about that. Now Shearer's a couple of yards offside. That pass out of defence was delayed, really. They need to get things moving quicker than that. Manchester United push up, and it's a free kick for Schmeichel to take responsibility for.
Well, the absence of Keane, of course, blow to Manchester United. For the people who are arriving late, he had to limp off after about 10 minutes. But Beckham's gone in there alongside Scholes, and they look very good.
And the free kick is taken by Schmeichel. Cole shields his eyes there against the sunshine. And Scholes wins the header, and Giggs tucks the ball down the near side. And Philip Neville tries to get in first against Andy Griffin. Still a bit of work here for the Newcastle defender to do. It's Robert Lee in the right-back position. And in the end, the referees come to his rescue, Peter Jones, because he's penalised the challenge which came in from Andy Cole, and a free kick to be taken by Steve Harper. So it's interesting to see David Beckham playing in the central midfield position here today. You wonder whether he might do that in Barcelona on Wednesday night. Though there will be the option of Nicky Butt, of course, who's been kept on ice for that game, not even on the bench, as Alan Green was saying today for this cup final. 1-0 to Manchester United in search of their third double of the decade. And now Beckham again emerges with the ball. Beckham taking on Solano down the right-hand side and easily going past the Peruvian. Beckham with a long one, tries to clear the defender, but Charvet was there. Otherwise, Cole would have been in. Good defending this time by Charvet. Turns and gives the ball to fellow countryman Domi. Nudge down the line, and now Domi again. Short of the halfway line. Domi's ball touched off by Shearer, and Shearer and Ketspire not really clicking at all in this game yet. And it's back again with Schmeichel.
I don't think they're getting the serves. You're going to get the best out of Alan Shearer. You've got to be getting the crosses in. You've got to be getting the ball a bit earlier to him than they're getting it. He's actually fighting a bit of a lost cause, I feel, at the moment, because I think if I was Ruud Gullit, I'd be a little bit concerned. I can't see Solano getting in this game at the moment. And speed, he seems to be running around challenging people. But when I'm talking about something constructive to try and free the front players, not too much.
This is the cup final, 5 Live, World Service, BBC Radio. Manchester United 1 up against Newcastle. Newcastle came out very, very aggressively at the start. And Keane got the injury after the challenge from Speed. Off he went, on came Sheringham, goal after 10 minutes. And England now 22 for 2, staging a bit of recovery, needing 2-2-6 to beat South Africa in the Cricket World Cup. Not very many miles away from here at the Oval. Throw to Newcastle as we approach the end of the first half. Good challenge coming in from Solskjaer, and the clearance by Scholes. Long one from Scholes. It'll fall in play down the near side. Cole with a poor touch, though. Can't control it, and it runs away disappointingly for Alex Ferguson's team for a throw to Newcastle. We've got a couple of minutes left. Steve McLaren, I noticed down there, Ferguson's right-hand man. He's literally sitting on his right hand as well today, down there. He's just been out there trying to get a message across. And very soon from the fourth official, we'll be finding out how much added time there will be. Now a bit of defending for United to do. That's Manchester United. Philip Neville thinks about the back pass, gives it to Schmeichel. Schmeichel takes one touch and then hoofs it towards this near side. Still beautiful sunshine lighting up Wembley. Indeed, the afternoon is much better than the game at the moment. 1-0 to Manchester United.
I think that sunshine, I've played at Wembley in these conditions. It sometimes can be a bit difficult for the way Newcastle are playing. When you're looking right into that sun, it can be a little bit difficult. People seem to forget that.
Good point, Jim. And now Manchester United looking to counter. Lovely back flick from Giggs. Sheringham strikes that too long. The intention was right. You could see that he was trying to expose that central defence again, but the execution wasn't. And Harper's 5 yards out of his area once more. The last few seconds of this first half. Manchester United leading by Sheringham's goal. In goes Sheringham again. And Scholes is there. Roy Keane style, really, to pick up the bits and pieces in midfield. Scholes is having to play a more withdrawn role now. In goes Scholes again. Scholes tries to find Sheringham. There was a little bit of a carry-on there between Speed and Beckham after the ball had gone, and Speed and Beckham are still carrying on, and at the moment Peter Jones has got his back to them. Now he sensed that something's just happening, and
you should have a word with them.
Yes, he hasn't done. And I'm just wondering whether that's a carry-on, really, from the first 8 minutes of the game when Roy Keane was injured following the challenge by Gary Speed. Now, can you see that sign down there? 2 minutes, I think it says, in the sunshine, of added time. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. And now Beckham as a defender. And he gives it back to Johnson. And it's with Schmeichel. Left-footed clearance by the Big Dane. Last game in England, his last major appearance in England for Manchester United. This is his 4th FA Cup final. Philip Neville, back again to Schmeichel. Just the loser once here with United against Everton in 95, the ride-out goal. Now Beckham with an intelligent header which draws applause for Gary Neville down the far side. Solskjaer, who's been quite quiet, really. He's not playing in his favourite position, though, down the right. As Cole gets away from the defender. Cross comes Charvet, though. Charvet there to help out. And a desperate clearance by Newcastle. It's Cole again on the edge of the area. Left-footed shot was too soft. And an easy save by Harper. They are living dangerously at times, Newcastle at the back.
Yeah, they look uncertain. You know, they look uncertain at the back. I think that's the way to put it, really. Every so often there's an error from one of them. And the last thing you need, really, is consistency you need from your back players.
Beckham gets the better of speed and will have enjoyed that. Beckham now going on the outside of Domi. And he's got Solano, though, as well. And between them, they take care of Beckham. But then Newcastle don't get very far in retaliation. And once more, Schmeichel's there on the edge of his area. Just the one big save he's had to make in the first half, really, to keep out Haman. Now Beckham trying to show more control in midfield. The last minute of the first half. Solano with a stooping header finds Haman. Haman on to Solano once more. Shearer's desperate to try and get a chance. Ball is played in the area. Ketspire slips. And Philip Neville wants the ball to cross the line. Eventually it does. And it's a goal kick to Manchester United. And Newcastle totally unable here so far to service their great captain Alan Shearer. They haven't really given him anything at all to feed off.
No, if I was Ruud Gullit, I'd take the half-time whistle now. If I was him, you know, I'd be content to say, right, let's go and try and sort one or two things out at the break. He's got to get better service to his front two players, but it's not easy because a lot depends on what goes on in the midfield and the two fullbacks. That's the half-time.
Well, there's the half-time whistle, 1-0 to Manchester United. So anything, I suppose, is still possible. Newcastle still very much alive and kicking in the game, but Jim, they're going to have to improve here.
Yes, and if I was Ruud Gullit now, what I would do, I think he's got to get Ketspire a little bit more into the game, and he's got to, if it persists as it has gone in the first half, he's got to get a bit more from Solano somehow. And the other thing is Griffin and Domi down the flanks. I think they've not really progressed, never really stretched, I don't think, enough. And I think that's the problem Newcastle have. They're not out of this by any means, Mike. 1-0, anything can happen yet, and they've got the problem Manchester United to are facing that sun. People don't put any, store on this. It does have a little bit of effect, and who knows?
Well, the fans...
You're listening to FA Cup Final Sports World on the BBC World Service. We'll be back at Wembley in good time for the second half, rest assured. World Cup cricket and other sports news coming up. But now, time for a bulletin of world news.
Minutes of the game, Sheringham came on as Peter Jones blows his whistle. Manchester United defending the tunnel end in the second half. Peter Schmeichel is the goalkeeper. The defenders are Gary Neville, David May, Ronnie Johnson and Phil Neville. Then in midfield it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, David Beckham, Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs. Strikers, the goal scorer, Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole. And Newcastle United have made a change at half-time because we gather that Dietmar Hamann has a hip injury, it appears. That and the fact that they also have to score, of course. Steve Harper is their goalkeeper. The defenders, and I use that term loosely, Andy Griffin, Laurent Charvet, Nikos Davizas and Didier Domi. Then in midfield now we've got Robert Lee, Gary Speed and Alberto Solano with Timuri Ketspire, Alan Shearer and Duncan Ferguson. And what can they do in this position? A goal down, Newcastle United, to the team that's already won the Premiership title and is winning this final so far, Jimmy Armfield, playing well within themselves. In fact, they're not playing that well because they don't have to play that well.
Well, they've definitely passed the ball better. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens here with Ferguson, because Ferguson's going to play up there in the front line with Shearer. Ketspire will drop behind them. Imam's gone off. He got a hip injury. Of course, he got that knock early on. He came to the treatment just to the side here when King got injured as well. Speed will go in the middle, and Lee will move in with Solano. Be interesting to see now how they cope with this. I think they can only improve in the middle of the field. Whether they can get enough service to the front players, though,
well, that's the thing, Jimmy, because it appears the way they've lined up, they're sacrificing a bit of width here. And Ferguson and Shearer need the ball played in from the flanks. We'll see. A minute and a half played in the second half here in the 118th FA Cup final. Manchester United lead 1-0, and you're listening to the BBC, whether it's 5 Live or the World Service. Robert Lee does well, holds off 2 challenges. Forward to Kitspire, who's dropped deep. He's inside the centre circle. Now he's ahead of it. Oh, poor pass from him, ahead of Duncan Ferguson. And it's half cleared, but picked up by Lee again. Robert Lee comes forward now, about 30 yards from goal. Kitspire to his right. It's played to the Georgian. Kitspire on his left foot. Shoots from long range, and it bumbles behind for a goal kick.
Well, that's better. At least it's better. There's a bit more positive play there from Newcastle. The 2 or 3 players going forward. Kitspire, I always feel, is better when he's running from a deeper position than when he's in the front line. A lot of people don't agree with me, but I think he is. He's better at actually running with the ball, and he created a little bit of something. Whether Ferguson's fit enough for this, we shall have to see.
Well, he's only played 182 minutes, Jimmy, in 1999 so far. We'll see whether his nuisance value can turn the tide here for Newcastle United, who trail Manchester United by a goal to 0. Teddy Sheringham's goal 2 minutes after coming on as substitute for Roy Keane. There's a foul by Phil Neville on Alan Shearer, and a free kick for Newcastle, a little short of the halfway line, right in the centre circle, left for Laurent Charvet, and Newcastle have pushed everybody forward inside the Manchester half. Charvet's free kick, deep. Ferguson wins it in the air, heads it down inside the penalty area, and it's cleared by a combination of men. Gary Neville headed back in there by speed. Mistake, Ferguson through, and Schmeichel dives at his feet and gathers the ball. David May should have cleared.
Yes, I don't know what Schmeichel's complaining at there. I don't think Ferguson went in with his foot or anything. Anyway, interesting that if Ferguson actually would have read it, he might have been in with a bit of a shout.
Well, it was a free kick, Jimmy, awarded. I don't know what for. Was there an offside flag?
Well,
I didn't see it.
It didn't look offside to me, but anyway, the referee had quite clearly blown. But a few little positive signs, at least from Newcastle now.
Gary Neville with a throw-in for Manchester United, short of the halfway line, and launched down the right touchline. Headed away by Dabizas. Solano flicks the ball over Solskjaer, who can't really get into the game playing wide on the right for the Manchester side. But David May picks up the ball and forward towards Andy Cole. Charvet intercepts, finds Lee, back to speed, and now Griffin on the far side. Griffin with a long pass back to his goalkeeper, and Harper controls it first before clearing right-footed, just drifting over the halfway line. Shearer jumps, heads it into the centre circle, but straight to David Beckham, who heads it straight to Laurent Charvet. An untidy start to the second half, and in all truth, it's not a great cup final. We haven't seen a great cup final for a very long while. Here's Andy Cole. Solskjaer behind him. It's played to the Norwegian, and then his pass is blocked, and Robert Lee takes the ball away, but then runs into Ryan Giggs, who finds Solskjaer and Sheringham. Solskjaer again, good tackle by Dabizas, who wins it back for Newcastle. Robert Lee to the far side in Griffin, and hear the roar from the Tyneside section of Wembley Stadium. Away to our left, and that's the end that Newcastle are attacking in the second half. But Ryan Giggs has the ball for Manchester United, and Cole gets away from Charvet. Sheringham to his right, 20 yards infield. Cole's inside the penalty area, plays the ball low across the face of goal, and is cleared by Dabizas, and Cole didn't make the best use of that.
No, he didn't. Dabizas did well to get it away, and then Charvet got caught. He really did. Caught wrong side of the player.
51 minutes played. Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0. Ferguson on a substitute at half-time to Domi. And infield to Gary Speed, ahead of the halfway line. Awful pass from him, straight through to Phil Neville. Neville back to Schmeichel, and Schmeichel whacks it straight into the crowd on the far side of the field.
Yeah, a bit of impetus though with Newcastle, I feel. It seemed to me as though they're chasing around a little bit here. They've got a little bit of belief in themselves, I feel, at the moment.
They'll need a break though, Jimmy.
Oh, they've got to get the next goal.
A goal for Manchester United, and we may as well go home. Lee hits it forward. Ferguson jumps well, heads it down, but it's behind Alan Shearer, and scolds it there for Manchester United, playing it to Phil Neville. Neville forward to Giggs, back to Scholes, careful passing on to Sheringham. Sheringham tried to get it back to Giggs. It wasn't a great ball to Teddy Sheringham, and Newcastle have it back. Kitspire, who's dropped deeper since Ferguson's come on. Kitspire 40 yards from goal. Good run down the left by Domi, and he picks out the Frenchman with a pass. Left of the penalty area, on his left foot, crosses and hits Gary Neville, and it's behind for a corner to Newcastle.
Yes, Domi's got forward, at long last, because he can play in this position, he can get forward, and he's got a good left foot, this lad.
Solano to take the corner, and the Newcastle fans looking for any encouragement. You'd think that you're throwing at the moment. They've got a corner. It's played short to Solano. Solano gets the cross into the near post, and Gary Neville with a careful header away, out of play and it's a throw into Newcastle, but much further away from the United penalty area.
Can't understand that. They just brought Ferguson on. The first thing I would do is test the goalkeeper and the central defenders with Ferguson's height.
Solano down the left, and that may have hit Gary Neville's hand, but it's certainly unintentional, and play continues. It's cleared by Manchester United, and then picked up by Robert Lee for Newcastle. Back to Domi. Domi forward. Ferguson heads it on. Good play. Shearer towards Ferguson again, and it was Johnson who stepped in, and that was a very important interception by the United central defender. But Newcastle have a little bit of momentum going here. 7 minutes played in the second half. They still trail though by 1-0. Solskjaer forward towards Giggs, and across comes Davizas, and Davizas running into the corner flag in his own half, and then clears. It wasn't a great clearance, picked up by Solskjaer, into Sheringham, into the penalty area, laid back, Solskjaer finishes, and he scored the second goal for Manchester United, and that could be the end of Newcastle's challenge. Paul Scholes, left-footed, low to the right of Harper. Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. Surely it's the double, and the treble is on.
Well, it was well worked, but frankly that was really poor defending. It really was, because there was one or two opportunities there to clear the ball. First of all, Davizas down the left-hand side. I don't know what he was thinking about, kicking the ball back into play from the corner flag when he was out there, but he did. And by the time the ball was returned into Sheringham and replayed back to Scholes, there were two Newcastle defenders there, both standing off the players. Manchester United did it absolutely perfectly. Sheringham layoff, Scholes a great finish, Harper no chance of saving.
Shall we go home now, Jim? Is there an early train?
Not yet. Not yet.
I can't see Newcastle recovering from this situation. Just cannot see it. All the hustle and bustle about their efforts at the start of the second half, but still no incision. And talking about them needing a break, well, they need a miracle now. 2-0 down to Manchester United, and it's a long while since Newcastle scored a goal in a cup final at Wembley. 1955 was the last one. Mr. Hannah, who you informed me was George Hannah. Now they're going to have to score 3 times to win the FA Cup final.
Yeah, what's happening here? What's he doing now? He's letting them treat him on the field now.
Beckham, I don't know what happened to Beckham there.
Why is he letting him treat him on the field?
I don't know. England, I don't want to really read out this cricket score. Have you heard it? England 44 for 4 after 17 overs. Graham Hick is out for 21, or as it says here, double OT. He's out anyway, he's back in the pavilion. And Newcastle United may as well be back in the dressing room. Beckham's still receiving some treatment to his face. And after all this interruption, there'll be a free kick to Newcastle United, who must be in total despair.
Yes, they've got to try and get a goal as quick as they can here. They've got to try and get back into it somehow. I mean, so there's only been the odd occasion they've looked as though they might score. Schmeichel's only really been tested once in this match. To be fair, Harper's not been tested that much, but they've got the 2 important strikes. Scholes, good finish that. Lovely layoff by Sheringham again. He's been a key player so far.
Hasn't Sheringham played so well of late that you think he actually must be seriously in the frame for Wednesday night? No matter about York and Cole's goals, Sheringham is playing that well. But we'll see. Only Alex Ferguson knows. Free kick to Newcastle. Charvet takes it, flicks to the edge of the Manchester penalty area, and cleared by Manchester United. Good control by Cole to find Giggs, and Scholes is running through completely unmarked inside right channel. It's a deep ball by Giggs, but a poor one, and it runs through to the Newcastle goalkeeper Harper.
Yeah, he did well, Harper, there. He came and played the odds game. He came right out to the edge of his area just in case he had to manoeuvre himself about to this right-hand side where Scholes was making a run. If Giggs' pass had been true and accurate, Newcastle would have been in trouble there.
Solskjaer was also running down the right unmarked. Ferguson heads the ball on. Shearer's after it, and Gary Neville's there first. Back to Peter Schmeichel, who screws the clearance out off the outside of his right foot into the crowd on the near side. And Ruud Gullit's just come out to the touchline and issued instruction, but, well, it takes genius to turn this situation around. Domi with a throw-in. Dwight York's going to come on for Manchester United. And it's as if Alex Ferguson knows this game is 1-9. He's saying, right, you go out for a few minutes and you can have a run out. I'm sure Jaap Stam will come on at some stage. On the far side, Robert Lee takes an awkward pass on his right thigh. Good ball back to Griffin. Robert Lee again. Crosses into the penalty. Shearer jumps. Schmeichel's there first. Foster gets by. He has to score. And he hits the post. May was standing on the line, covering the goal line. But Ketspaya's shot rebounded off the post, and there was bad luck when they needed good luck.
Well, they must be feeling it's not their day now. What happened, Schmeichel came out, made a mess of it, and it fell to Ketspaia, who went round Schmeichel, and he's driven it, and it's hit the post.
Giggs running forward, but beaten by Griffin, and now it's Rob Lee to Gary Speed. We play 57 minutes at Wembley in the FA Cup final, and you're listening to us on the BBC, of course, whether it's in the United Kingdom on 5 Live or all across the globe on the World Service. Solano, poor ball forward. Gary Neville, back to Beckham. Beckham looks for Dwight York, and Charvet just gets there first and heads the ball back to his goalkeeper, who throws out quickly in the far side to Griffin. One mistake there by Charvet, and Cole was through, and it was surely 3-0. Domi, back to Speed. Speed a little carelessly flicks the ball up, and then Solskjaer equally carelessly gives the ball away. Ketspaia on the halfway line. Griffin running down the right. Ketspaia's trying to find him. Has he overhit the pass? He has. Griffin tried hard to keep it in play, but couldn't.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things too. Now the second goal's gone in, the legs start to feel a little bit heavy. For when you're 2 goals down at Wembley in the sun.
Tiring. And some despondency in the Newcastle camp. The Geordie fans who were so excited at the start of the second half, seeing a momentum build up for Newcastle United. Now again, flat on their backsides in those seats away to the left. Manchester fans singing. Domi comes forward, breaks off a defender. Ferguson tries to knock it to Ketspaia. Giggs is in there. Well played round Giggs. His shirt was being pulled. Beckham takes it up, and Beckham, great vision, finds Sheringham. Good run by Solskjaer, but I said it found Sheringham. Davies has said, no, that's my ball, and he made a telling interception and brings it back to Newcastle. Lee.
Great ball by Davies. How he got to that, I don't know. It was very important.
Here's Griffin on the far side. Newcastle right. 58 minutes played. Manchester United lead 2-0. Back to Robert Lee. 40 yards from goal. Crosses weakly. May clears towards Robert Lee again. And Lee is beaten by Beckham, but Beckham diverted the ball away, but only out of play, and it's a throw into Newcastle, almost on the halfway line.
Yeah, they needed that goal, Newcastle, when Ketspaia at the post. They needed it really for the spirit as much as anything else, but at least they're having a go at it here. Whether they can do anything about it, though, we haven't seen it so far.
Here's Gary Neville for Manchester United, right of his own penalty area, and he clears to the halfway line. It's going out over the touchline. Graham Taylor, the Watford manager, is watching and listening just about 5 yards to my left. Graham, your thoughts?
Well, Newcastle shot themselves in the foot with some horrific defending there. What Dabizas was thinking about with the ball in a deep left-back position there, and he just gave the ball away. They're basics, and these are the kind of things that let players down. They certainly needed the goal and need one within the next 10 minutes, I would think, to lift their spirits. But if they keep defending in the manner that they are doing, all that Manchester United have to do is keep passing and moving the ball about, and their chances will come, because on occasions the Newcastle back line, they just seem to disappear. I don't know where to, Alan, but they certainly go absent without leave.
I know of a cruel way of saying this, but when I was giving the team news, Graham, you heard me say, and here are the defenders for Newcastle, and I use that term loosely. And it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Now, Dwight York has come on, Andy Cole has come off, and Alex is thinking about Wednesday, isn't he? If Cole's going to start Wednesday, why let him tower out there when they're 2-0 up? Give York a run.
Yes, obviously when he can afford to do it at 2-0 as well. It's not bad when you've got York to come on as well. That's the strength of Manchester United. They have 20 players, and no other club has that.
Giggs on towards York, but intercepted by the chest of Griffin, and Griffin hits it heftily upfield. Ferguson looking for Shearer. Shearer's foot was high, but it was evaded by Phil Neville. The referee's given a free kick anyway. Beckham tries to take it quickly, but in the wrong position, and Peter Jones is going to call it back.
They're taking the quick free kick. What's he doing, this referee? Anyway, he's given the free kick. United took it, and he's brought it back.
Well, it was from the wrong position. Clearly the wrong position. 61 minutes played. This is 5 Live in the World Service on the BBC. Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. Sheringham and Scholes for the goals. Phil Neville's free kick. Right-footed. Sheringham allows it to run. Davizas heads it away, and it's trickling towards the touchline near side of the field. There's Alex Ferguson out there, and he wants to play, doesn't he? And that's why you're not playing, Alex, because that was a terrible pass to Gary Neville. Throw into Gary Neville. Charvet takes it though and runs back into trouble and needlessly concedes a corner.
Yes, what they're doing, really. They're making their own problems, Newcastle. They really are. I mean, say, Charbet, all he had to do there was kick the ball out, get back into his own penalty area. You know, what you're doing, you're just handing the ball now to Manchester United, corner kick.
Beckham's corner from the right. And the United fans wishing for a third goal to make absolutely certain. It's headed away. Collected by Scholes. Scholes to the far side. And Johnson. Oh, no, what am I talking about? It's Giggs left of the penalty area. And taking on the defender. Pulls across back. York must score. And he misses. Heads it over the crossbar. Oh, dear. That should have been 3-0.
Well, that's the first time that Giggs has really sprung into what I call, you know, real action today. He's had one or two decent runs, but that was really telling. He got round the outside of Griffin, put his crossover beautifully, and York, 6 yards out, free header, all on his own, has headed it over the top. If York had been on about 5 or 10 minutes longer, I think he'd have put that one in.
Any cricket followers of a nervous disposition, please just close your ears for a second. England 45 for 5 in the 18th over, chasing 226 to beat South Africa. Flintoff, the latest man, out for naught. Abysmal. 2-0 to Manchester United. Schmeichel hits the ball to the halfway line, headed back by Charbet, and Ferguson definitely doesn't look fit. That was just a token effort as May played it upfield. York to Beckham. Beckham allows it to run to Sheringham. Sheringham holds off Griffin. All the experience. Infield to Beckham again. Manchester United now enjoying themselves. Phil Neville on the far side to Sheringham. Giggs is back towards the halfway line, and it's back towards Giggs, but it's picked up by Beckham onto York. York towards Sheringham, headed away tellingly by Charbet. Beckham wins it back for the champions and likely cup winners. Now Phil Neville. Infield to Sheringham. All this action about 40 yards from the Newcastle goal. Phil Neville again. And that's at least a dozen passes they've strung together. Beckham looking to switch the point of the attack. Looking to the right side towards Dwight York. And York cleverly just fended off Domi. York back to Gary Neville. And now Scholes scored the second goal. On to York again. Scholes once more into the penalty area. Great run, great movement. Shoots, and it's deflected behind for a corner.
It hit Charbet as much as him stopping it. I don't know how many passes Manchester United put together there, but at this moment, Newcastle are a little bit demoralised. The second goal has really floored them. They've got to try and dig something out from somewhere here. Let Manchester United start passing it around in comfort like that. You can only wait, you know, for the goals to come in.
Corner from the right. David Beckham to take it. Right-footed. Headed away by Alan Shearer. Jumping to Giggs. His volley. A foot wide.
Good volley by Giggs. About 5 or 6 yards outside the box. On his right foot. He hit it sweetly, but it's just gone past the post. Harper was diving.
Well, it's not even close anymore, Jimmy, unfortunately. It's not even close.
Well, yep, Stam is actually...
That's what I said. Stam's going to come on. He wants to play in an FA Cup final. The game is won unless there's an incredible turnaround. And Jaap Stam will get his taste of the action. Lee to Ferguson for Newcastle. Ferguson gives the ball away. Giggs on to Sheringham. Lifted towards York. Mistake by the defender. Dwight York pounces. Running forward into the box. Left-footed shot, is it? No, he's still going. Defender gets back well. Played back to Rand Giggs. Giggs crosses. Solskjaer is there. Left-footed shot. Takes a deflection. Save of the goalkeeper. Cleared just in front of the line. Oh, it's pounced on by Harper. Oh, dear.
Well, it could have been any one or two or three players to score the third goal then, but in the end, Solskjaer had the chance, and he mishit it. In the end, Harper really should have got hold of it, but he scrambled it, and in the end, he's got it at the second attempt.
25 minutes to go. The chant comes up champions, and, well, the double is theirs. Gary Neville plays the ball towards the halfway line. Speed heads it down, but behind Solano, and Newcastle look entirely dispirited now.
Well, Beckham just jumped into Speed there. The Newcastle players are asking the referee.
He got away with a very bad challenge, Jimmy, not long before the half-time interval, when his studs were up and he was nowhere near the ball, David Beckham. Davies hits the ball to the halfway line. Neat flick by Ferguson, but ahead of gets fire. Shearer stretches, doesn't make contact, and the ball is out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in to Manchester United. We played 21 minutes in the second half. They lead 2-0, the champions. Goals from Sheringham in the first half and Scholes in the second.
Scholes has played well today. I think he's been excellent. I think Scholes and Beckham, which is good news for England, I think they've been excellent today. Energy, passed the ball, Beckham's switched positions and still played well. I think it's been very important for Manchester United.
Keane went off injured, remember. He'll miss the European Cup final anyway through suspension, and so too will Scholes. Solskjaer, down the right from Manchester, a yard in from the touchline, tackled by Dummy, ball breaks off the Frenchman, back to Gary Neville, first time cross from Gary Neville, Sheringham cushions the header to Giggs, into the penalty area, and Giggs couldn't quite control it. Charvet clears, and Solano collects, midway inside his own half. Changes the point of the attack, good pass to Kitspaia, right of the centre circle, and Kitspaia into the United half now, but running across midfield, gives it to Solano, and now wide on the far side is Griffin, the right full-back. Speed is close by, Lee's nowhere, Griffin cuts inside towards the edge of the penalty area, but the shot is high, it's just behind. We're midway through the second half. There's going to be another Newcastle substitution, and to describe that and the rest of the action in this FA Cup final, Mike Ingham.
Well, Silvio Maric, who Manchester United were linked with for a period when he was at Croatia Zagreb, he's coming on, number 10, replacing Alberto Solano, the Peruvian. And a little shuffle here by Ruud Gullit, much pointing by the coach down there, but this is very much deja vu now. 12 months ago, Newcastle came here, the underdogs, facing the team going for the double, lost 2-0. The goals on that occasion by the overseas stars from Arsenal. Today, all England. Sheringham and Scholes, 2-0 to Manchester United, and the threat from Newcastle's point of view of even more goals. The ball is loose down the near side. Domi's there, faced by 3 Manchester United players. Beckham working so hard, and the ball is in the area, and Beckham this time hasn't got it away. Ferguson stabs it back, and Ketsbaia hits it wide with his right foot. Jimmy Armfield, having just talked about Scholes and Beckham, I'm intrigued about Alex Ferguson's possible lineup for Wednesday night in Munich without Scholes and Keane. Now, obviously, Butt is back in midfield. Who would you play alongside Butt against Bayern Munich?
Beckham.
Because whenever he's been asked about this in the past, of course, Alex Ferguson's always quickly said, well, you know, I've got the best crosser of a ball in Europe on the right-hand side.
That's right. But, well, you asked me, that's what I'd do. I think, you know, he put him there right away as soon as Keane was injured.
Yeah.
So it's obviously in his thoughts.
Although, interestingly, what we thought was the dress rehearsal team at Blackburn a couple of weeks ago, Philip Neville played in the midfield, and it didn't really work with Nicky Butt on that occasion. Now, Duncan Ferguson, substituting a final again against Manchester United. He was with Everton, but they won that final 4 years ago. Newcastle, I don't think, are going to get anything out of this one. Trailing by 2 goals. The real heartbreaker for all those Geordie fans once more away to our left. The ball with Manchester United, so much on top here as, again, Ruud Gullit steps out. Long ball played now by Philip Neville, deep into the Newcastle half. A good jump at the back by the Newcastle defenders, as speed is easily blocked by Scholes. Scholes is pouring forward for Manchester United. Finds Gary Neville down the near side. York and Giggs all in the area. Solskjaer and Sheringham there. Giggs lets it go through his legs. York flicks the ball back again to Giggs, and Giggs over his shoulder aims towards the near post, and a real flap there by the goalkeeper, and he concedes the corner kick, getting over Sheringham and also clouting him on the back of the head. Well, Paul Scholes loves Wembley. Last time he was here, he scored a hat-trick for England against Poland, and he's got the goal which has surely put this game now beyond Newcastle United. A double strike by Manchester United, another double achievement looming here, and Beckham now to take the corner for Manchester United. In it goes, headed well over the bar by Ronnie Johnson. Johnson and May both went forward, even though they're 2-0 up. They're looking for more goals.
Well, it was a great chance. Ball was knocked in by Beckham, lovely corner. Johnson came with a late run. Nobody from Newcastle went with him. He got a clean header there, but it's gone over the top. The Newcastle fans are trying to lift the players. They've really got to try and do something, because Ruud Gullit's running out to the side here now. Interesting to see Maric in there. It's been in this midfield area, really, where I feel they've been, you know, the Manchester United just had too much for them.
Shearer gets the better of Philip Neville down the right-hand side for Newcastle, attacking the tunnel end. 2-0 to Manchester United. Shearer takes the ball to the dead ball line and doesn't get the corner, and he's furious. He was absolutely convinced he got the corner. There was just a feeling at the start of the second half, I thought, with seeing Duncan Ferguson winning 3 balls in the air and laying them off to Alan Shearer, that Newcastle could still come back into the game. But overall, they've been a very big disappointment. And I suppose, Jim, I'm told they didn't finish the season well either. And you can't just turn form on like a tap, can you?
Well, it's not easy. And the other thing, I mean, Manchester United haven't lost a game since Christmas, you know, since December. they're full of confidence. So many international players, 20 international players. When you think of the players who are not here, not in the starting lineup, they would find their way into quite a number of Premiership clubs. But that's the strength of Manchester United now. Such a big club, the biggest club in the world, Manchester United, in terms of playing strength.
And the World Service listening to us, 5 Live from Wembley, 2-0 to Manchester United for the 3rd year running. It looks like a team from the northeast is going to lose in the cup final. Ball stabbed forward by Newcastle. Can they produce miracles here now? Yeah. They've got a throw-in, have they, over on the far side? Andy Griffin comes forward to take it, much pointing by the Newcastle players, but it's a disjointed performance by them. The ball is played into the centre circle, and it's going to be Dabisas hitting it long, not too convincingly. That's a wasted ball by Dabisas. Again, it runs through to Schmeichel. And I wonder whether Graham Taylor can rejoin us now with your latest thoughts. Graham, can you see any way back at all now for Newcastle?
No, I think something quite untoward has got to happen to put them back in to raise their spirits. And as I said earlier, that Manchester United now are so much on top. And providing they just keep moving the ball around, then there'll be more chances for them. I just can't see it happening any other way.
Thank you, Graham. And foul by York. Foul by York on Dabisas. Free kick to Manchester United. So it was 2-0 to Chelsea and Hullet against Middlesbrough in 97. 2-0 to Arsenal in 98. And now in 99, it's 2-0 to Manchester United. And don't bet against them scoring another one either, the way they're playing at the moment. As the Newcastle substitutes warm up, Jaap Stam is also loosening up down there. Manchester United. Warren Barton is running up and down the line. We've got 16 minutes to go. Jimmy, listen to those Newcastle fans, though, right now. You'd never know they were 2-0 down.
No. Oh, Newcastle fans are terrific. They've always have been. When I was playing, they were exactly the same. The faces may have changed, but the spirit has never changed. It's remained unaltered. They'll get behind the team.
Dabisas comes back on again. The ball is on the edge of the Manchester United penalty area. And now Sheringham with a very cute little flick, finding Giggs, who's drifted into the centre. Giggs just parts the ball back to Beckham down the right-hand side. Beckham really relishing his role now. Long one from Beckham, aimed towards Sheringham, jumping over on the far. Sheringham's header on, and York just couldn't quite stretch. Out comes the goalkeeper once more, Harper, and throws to the far side. At times, Manchester United just opening up Newcastle here. Newcastle now looking to try and cross the halfway line. The ball is with the Welshman's speed. Little shuffle from him. Great. No, Scholes, I think the challenge. I think he just caught speed. He took the man as well as the ball. And so it's going to be a free kick to Newcastle just inside the Manchester United half. Attacking the tunnel end away to the left. Oh, Teddy, Teddy, they're singing now, the Manchester United fans. But not the version the other supporters sing around the country. This one will be something along the lines of, oh, Teddy, Teddy, you went to Man United and you had a ball, or something like that, I think. Now Domi of Newcastle inside the area. He's won a corner off Gary Neville. Corner kick to Newcastle down the near side.
The Newcastle fans cheer because the referee has actually given them something. They feel a little bit bad done by Mr. Jones today. I think the thing is that Domi, I think that was one of the plans really, to get the ball out to him on this left-hand side. He's never really got into it. When he has come forward, he has created the odd problem.
The corner kick is taken by Ketspire. What a great catch by Schmeichel. And the throw immediately towards York. York will just try and hold this, and he'll look to be joined now. Sheringham trying his dribbling skills. Finds Ryan Giggs back again to Philip Neville. And the crowd here, 79,101 in other words. Wembley is full for the All-United final, the last of the 20th century. One more final here before they dismantle Wembley. And now Philip Neville. Where they'll be playing the final in 2 years' time, if Man United are in it, who knows? The ball is back again with Harper, away to our right in the Newcastle goal. And he'll clear on the edge of his own area. 2-0 to Manchester United. As we move into the last 15 minutes, you're listening to Radio 5 Live and BBC World Service. 2-0 to Manchester United. First half goal from Sheringham, who came on as a sub. The second from Scholes. And it's Maric now playing the ball in, looking towards Shearer, but he hasn't got his touch right at all. Shearer has to give up on that one. Once more, Schmeichel claims the ball and throws to the far side.
The idea was good of Maric there, just overhit the ball. But Newcastle got to watch they don't lose heart here. They're getting the ball, there's no sort of confidence in the play, and United are running
Beckham
free.
for Manchester United has a shot from a long way out, and it's been deflected, and he's won a corner, and Jaap Stam is coming on. Jaap Stam is going to come on for Manchester United. A little loosener before Wednesday, perhaps, for him. Desperate to play in the cup final. Remember, the Dutchman Dennis Bergkamp missed the final last year and was upset about that. Well, Jaap Stam will come on for Paul Scholes. Presumably Ronnie Johnson will go into midfield. Jaap Stam will come on and play alongside David May. And I'm just wondering here whether Alec Ferguson might also be thinking about another possible European option on Wednesday night. Anyway, Ronnie Johnson goes into midfield and Jaap Stam comes on, and David Beckham takes the corner right-hand side of the field for Manchester United, leading by 2-0. The corner is headed away. The ball to Giggs. Giggs' shot is away by Duncan Ferguson. Falls to Shearer on the edge of the centre circle. There's no support yet for Shearer. Shearer tries to find Ketspire, but it's the Neville brothers taking care of business. And the luxury now that Manchester United manager Alec Ferguson can afford here. They've hardly had to break sweat here, really. Newcastle are also going to make a change. Stephen Glass, I think, will be coming on for them. Their third and final change. It's Gary Speed now to Maric. Back again to Dabisas at full stretch. He's given the ball away. Giggs down the centre. York is at the moment onside. Giggs hasn't seen him. He finds Sheringham instead. What a chip from Sheringham. Glances off the crossbar and over.
Well, that was lovely play by United. I thought Giggs was going to go on his own because, again, it was Dabisas. Gave the ball away in the middle. They've never looked right or never looked secure at the back to me. Anyway, the ball came through. Giggs played it on, and Sheringham, delightful chip, as Mike told you, from about 15 yards out. He's chipped it over the top of Harper, who'd come out to narrow the angle, and it's bounced on top of the crossbar. Anyway, here's young Glass coming on.
He comes on for Ketspire, who began the game up front with Shearer, then dropped back behind Ferguson and Shearer. Ferguson's now shielding his eyes against the sun as his goalkeeper Harper plays the ball towards him. He doesn't control the ball on the chest. 2-0 to Manchester United. It could have been so many more, of course. Sheringham was so close with a header in the first half as well, after one of the best moves of the match. And the ball is now with Harper once more in that Newcastle goal. The ball halfway inside the Manchester United. Stam gets up for the first time against Duncan Ferguson. The ball is picked up down the right-hand side and played in field to Gary Speed. Speed's on the halfway line. Newcastle need to do something very, very quickly if they're going to have any chance of getting back. 10 minutes to go. The goals from Sheringham and the recently departed Paul Scholes. Given away again by Newcastle. They've done that too many times. Manchester United with Johnson now in midfield. Finds York. York sees Giggs in space down the left-hand side, far side. Giggs with a curler into the area. Headed away by Dabisas before York can get there. Griffin can't keep it in over on the far side. And it's the throw to Manchester United, deep inside the Newcastle half.
Yes, Newcastle at full stretch, of course. They've tried to push forward to try and do something about it. They're getting broken down and getting hit on the break. And Dabisas made a spectacular headed clearance there.
Throw to Manchester United, thrown into the area. York trying to escape his marker. Clearance by Dabisas once more. Another poor clearance, though, by Newcastle. It falls to Beckham, 30 yards out. He tried to curl it in and actually was coming down well there for Beckham, but not quite enough. It just sails over the bar. And it's a goal kick to Newcastle with exactly 10 minutes to go.
You know, so much for people saying, you know, that playing all these games, Manchester United will be tired. When you're winning, you know, I said this, Mike, last week to you, you know, you never get tired. You can run forever. And Beckham, at this moment in time, who's probably played as many games as anybody this season, he's free, he's running round, he's running forward, he wants to have shots like that one. He's full of it.
Just got a television picture as well of Victoria. Watching him in the stand here, Victoria Adams and Gary Neville. Posh Spice is here at Wembley, as you'd expect. Watching David Beckham having a very big part to play in this cup final. Manchester United are 9 minutes away from another double. Incredible. 1994, 1996 and 1999. They're on the verge of another double here. Whatever happens in Barcelona on Wednesday, this is a colossal achievement by Alec Ferguson and his club. Schmeichel's kick for Manchester United, his last appearance in this country for Manchester United. The ball is now with Gary Neville once more. He's hardly put a foot wrong. I think we've mentioned Gary Neville, really. He's had a terrific game at right back, and now Newcastle on the halfway line, and it's Lee. Lee to Griffin, the right back, who's been much more under pressure than Gary Neville. Nice little exchange in midfield by Newcastle. Shearer and Ferguson waiting. The ball with Maric. In comes a terrific challenge from David May. And now Sheringham. Back to York, and Beckham's involved once more in the centre of midfield. Beckham's little ball down this near side, looking for York to make the run. Across comes Domi, and Domi can't keep it in. Throw to Manchester United, 15 yards or so inside the Newcastle half. Alec Ferguson looking cool and composed as you'd expect now alongside Steve McLaren. Knows he's almost there. 8 minutes to go. Ruud Gullit, by way of contrast, is standing, arms folded, alongside Steve Clarke, his assistant, the former Chelsea player. Sheringham now, edge of the area. Brought down, was he from behind by Dabisas? Peter Jones says play on.
Not like a foul, because Teddy Sheringham was winding up his left foot there, but the referee was very close to it.
Long ball, and Ferguson this time, Duncan Ferguson, is not offside, but the bounce was awkward for him. Finds Maric, chance here for Newcastle, he's put it wide. That was the chance that Newcastle were looking for. If they were going to come back and stage a grandstand finish here, that was the moment. The Newcastle supporters holding their heads. Silvio Maric, the Croatian, had a chance there to set us up for quite a finale, and he couldn't find the target.
That was a sitter. That really was a sitter. It was on his good foot. Ferguson just caused one or two problems for United's defenders, and in the end the ball dropped to Maric. It was clean. Schmeichel came out and he slotted the ball past him, and it's gone past the post. Alan Shearer put his head in his hands then. He knew that was probably the chance that they needed.
He tried to place it with his left foot. He might have been better off just giving it a blast, actually, but anyway, it's gone wide.
Would have given us a good finish, that, right?
It would indeed. And now Glass getting his first real touch down the left-hand side, but David May, who didn't play enough games to qualify for a championship medal, is going to get an FA Cup medal, I think, to add to the one that he got in 1996 against Liverpool.
It's amazing, you know, the Bayern's missed a great chance, hit the post, you know, and when Schmeichel was out of his goal, and now Maric has missed a sitter.
None of the chances have fallen to Shearer. Story of the game for Newcastle. Glass's ball in. Shearer can't cope with that. It's too high for him. And a little bit of ball watching over on the far side. And the defender creeps in, Griffin, and finds Lee. A little carelessness at the back by Manchester United. Good jump, though, now by Yapstam, and Alan Shearer gives him a shove and shows his frustration. And Manchester United have a free kick. And we've got 6 minutes to go. This is Radio 5 and BBC World Service. The FA Cup final history this century almost over here now. This will be the last final, of course, and Manchester United are on the verge of their 10th success. And that, of course, is a record. The ball is with York. York back to Gary Neville, ever available on the halfway line. Infield it goes to Beckham. Beckham slightly behind Solskjaer. Solskjaer, who's worked very professionally for the team today, out of position, down the right-hand side ever since Keane was injured. Began the game up front with Cole. And a clearance now by Harper into the centre circle. Towering leap by Yapstam. The United fans like that. York back to Beckham. Beckham now to Solskjaer. Solskjaer plays it quickly to York. York now holds. Sees Sheringham taking up a intelligent position as ever down the right-hand side. Infield to Beckham. Little touch from Solskjaer. Doesn't run on to York. Newcastle haven't got it away, though. Beckham will try and get there first. The two number 7s together. Beckham and Lee. Beckham back to Johnson. Johnson at full stretch. Finding Philip Neville now down the left-hand side. Philip Neville holds and then plays a little ball on the outside to Giggs. Giggs up against Griffin. Haven't really seen Giggs in explosive form here today. He hasn't needed to be. He's got a free kick, though.
Yes, Manchester United, the players must think they can't lose. You know, when you've come this long, you know, and they'll go into this match against Bayern Munich full of confidence, I feel, you know, after winning this match and winning the championship. I think they'll go into that match full of confidence, and I'll be surprised, if they don't win that as well.
It's a David Beckham free kick for Manchester United, leading 2-0 at Wembley. In it goes. Solskjaer went for a little flick. Newcastle partially clear it. Maric, who should have scored, gives the ball away on the edge of his own area. It's Ronnie Johnson, the Norwegian. Johnson, faced by two Newcastle players, digs the ball back to Sheringham. Sheringham tried to return the ball to Johnson, and Newcastle clear. Only Shearer downfield, and in steps Yapstam once more. England are 60 for 6 in the 24th over. Elam out for 5, needing 2-2-6. Unlikely 2-2-6 now to beat South Africa. Here, Manchester United are almost there as Speed finds Griffin with an excellent ball down the Newcastle right. Ball back with Speed once more. 8 players now from Manchester United are back behind the ball. Speed is running square with it at the moment. Maric gives it away. Giggs with an early touch finds York inside the Newcastle half. Giggs is going for the return and York doesn't find him really. Should have done. Eventually Giggs, though, gives it to Sheringham on the edge of the area. York is waiting. In it goes. Newcastle with Charvet. Almost loses the ball to Giggs 6 yards out. And Newcastle will clear, and they've looked vulnerable. They've looked suspect. They've looked brittle all afternoon at the back there. And that's why Manchester United lead. Long one now for Newcastle. Shearer with great determination, but Philip Neville's matching him. And finds Schmeichel with the back pass, and it's into the crowd over on the far side.
I think Newcastle have perhaps looked a little bit like that because, Manchester United are such a good team. They're so strong, go right the way through, and they've got all these permutations of players. And I think they will do it. You can't afford to make errors when you're playing against a team like Manchester United. They'll punish you. They've made 3 errors, and they've been costly. 2 of them have gone in the net.
Duncan Ferguson leaning on there, and the free kick to Manchester United. 2 or 3 minutes to go. 2-0 they lead. The goals from Sheringham in the first half, shortly after he'd come on for the injured Keane, and then the goal from Scholes. And when they lost Roy Keane so early on, Manchester United must have been very rueful. Do you know what I think has happened in the last few seconds? Alan Green's written his piece for 5 o'clock and thrown it through the window here. So you're going to have to write it again. The ball with Gary Neville, the wind has drifted it away. It's gone sailing down there. That's a souvenir for the Man United fans down there.
Got it. That's a priceless article.
Greeny has to show his creative juices once more now. And the ball is down the near side. 2-0 to Manchester United. Solskjaer. Is the time for one last moment for the champions, the defending champions. It's Solskjaer keeping his balance beautifully in the area. Across comes Charvet, and Charvet with a clean challenge takes the ball away from Solskjaer. Oh, Solskjaer, has he pulled up off the pitch? Or is he just pulling his stocking back up again? Well,
very honest player, Charvet. I think he gets caught too often, but he's a very honest player. He doesn't half gallop about.
Solskjaer sitting down. That's not a good sign for Alec Ferguson. Right at the end of this cup final. He's got cramp, you think. Right, the ball is with Newcastle. And Maric, played back by Ferguson. Robert Lee, across the pitch this will come. Looking for Glass. Gary Neville's there with a header away. And Domi slightly out of position. York almost stole in there for Manchester United. Solskjaer off the pitch is receiving attention. Manchester United can't replace him now, having brought on York and Sheringham and Stam. And now Speed to the far side. Finds with great accuracy Griffin, but it's all up now for Newcastle. I make it we've got about a minute to go of normal time, plus whatever time the fourth official down there is going to add on. 2-0 to Manchester United. And all the noise coming away to our right from their fans as a hopeful ball is played into Schmeichel's penalty area once more. And Schmeichel is there once more to clear for his team. And just look at what Manchester United have had to do to win this cup. They've had to come through first against Middlesbrough, the last team to beat them. They had to overcome Liverpool, their great rivals. They had to overcome Fulham, who were flying at the time. They then had to put out Chelsea in a replay in London. And then, of course, those dramatic games with Arsenal. And now 2-0 up against Newcastle. Beckham to York and Sheringham. Sheringham, though, loses the ball to Domi, but it's not going to matter. We will know in a second how much added time. Maybe 2 minutes of added time. There can't really be any more of that. And there's no need for any more than that, really. The ball is with Beckham. And it's 2 minutes exactly of added time. Beckham finding Giggs in the centre of midfield. Johnson to the far side. And he finds Philip Neville. 2 minutes, the last 2 minutes of FA Cup final football this century. Manchester United so much in front here as Solskjaer looks to try and come back into the game. It's going to be another double. Newcastle with Domi. Domi holds by the near side. So disappointing this must be once more for Newcastle and their captain Alan Shearer. Domi across the field for Maric. Newcastle looking for a consolation. The ball laid to the outside. It's Griffin now, just inside the area. Can Griffin pull this back? Schmeichel's gone down and has it been deflected? Newcastle are appealing for the corner kick. Referee looks to the linesman over on the far side and gives the corner down the far side.
Yeah, he gave a goal kick to start with. Then he's changed his mind. He's given a corner.
Well, it was Griffin's shot, but we've already played a minute of added time. In goes the corner kick. Speed gets above Stam. Headed away by Matt. He comes back in again, but Schmeichel's there to make perhaps his last save in England, playing for Manchester United. And of course, he will be the captain in Barcelona on Wednesday night in the European Cup final. The whole of that game on 5 Live. 7:45 kickoff. Manchester United against Bayern Munich. The third leg of what they hope will be the treble. Solskjaer, who's recovered from that injury, holds the ball by the corner flag over on the far side. Silence away to our left from Newcastle. A long journey back to the northeast it will be for the second year running. A very forlorn one. And Newcastle, it has to be said, just like 12 months ago, have been outplayed here in the cup final. The margin of defeat actually could have been much heavier than it's been. Throw to Newcastle, to Manchester United, far side. And they don't get very far, but they're not really concerned about that. They're playing possession football. It's a goal kick to Newcastle.
Yes, I think they've been definitely second best. They've made errors, Newcastle, but they'll go home, remembering that 57 minutes, Kitsbaya hit the post. 83 minutes, Maric missed a sitter. And when you're playing against, a team that's going well, you've got to knock your chances in. And they've had two clear-cut chances.
Time is up now at Wembley. The final whistle goes. The end of the cup final of 1999. Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0. The Manchester United players jump into each other's arms to celebrate their third double of the decade. Peter Schmeichel shakes the hand of Alan Shearer. On come Andy Cole and Paul Scholes, and limping on is the captain Roy Keane, who will limp up those 39 steps shortly to receive the FA Cup. The United players all bonding together inside the centre circle with their arms round each other, jumping up and down. Schmeichel very much the fulcrum for that. There is ecstasy amongst those United players as they join now by all the players off the bench, Blomqvist and Van der Hau, and they are entitled now to be celebrating. It was black and white on the pitch down there today. There was quite a gulf between the two sides. Manchester United were able to get past Newcastle with Wednesday in mind, even by leaving out the likes of Jaap Stam and Dwight York from the start, and not even finding a place on the bench for Nicky Butt, their experienced England international midfield player. The United players celebrate. Peter Schmeichel is going around shaking the hands of all the Newcastle players. He will understand what they're going through. David Beckham is there as well, just offering words of consolation. Dennis Irwin in his suit and his red rosette down there is also adding his congratulations. Alec Ferguson's done it again, 2-0 to Manchester United.
Yes, I think they've had a terrific season, really. To get the double is a great achievement. I know people are saying about the treble, but to get the double is a fantastic achievement. But they've got the squad, Mike, to do it. They were a good team last year, spent 22 million on Stam and York and Blomqvist, and it's made them, in my opinion, quite clearly the best team in this country. I know people have, questioned that about Arsenal and so on, but I think they've got more in the locker than Arsenal, right through the squad. That's why they've, got to the double. The other thing is, too, I believe they've got the players, even without Keane and without Scholes, to beat Bayern Munich. I think they have. A lot of other people don't, but I think they have. I said today before this match, Mike, it would be a shock, I think, if they'd have lost this final.
There's a lovely scene just down there, the big bear hug between Alec Ferguson and Peter Schmeichel, just like last Sunday, of course, after the championship was confirmed against Spurs. And I suppose, Jim, just to carry on what you were saying, that with all this talk being about the treble,
yes,
there may not be enough time to pause and reflect and actually pay tribute to what Manchester United have done domestically, never mind Europe.
That's right, yes, they've been terrific, really. The Premiership has actually it's almost become a procession. How many times? It's 5 out of 7, and they've been second twice.
Yes.
The thing is, if you think about that in itself is rather incredible. It's an incredible situation. And if you were looking ahead to next season, Mike, what would you say? If you had to put your mortgage on who's got the best chance of winning it, where would it go?
Well, a lot of people think that is the weakness of the Premiership, but there are two ways of looking at that, of course. You could also make the point that Manchester United are setting the standards the way that Liverpool used to do. They are creating the yardstick for others to try and follow. A little bit of cash, of course, also helps, but now for the second year running, it really is a deja vu scene here at Wembley as Newcastle players now just want to get off the pitch here and leave the celebrating to Manchester United. Alan Shearer was saying in the week that watching Tony Adams lift up the trophy last year really hurt, and he said he felt very guilty the next day when 250,000 people turned up in Newcastle to welcome them home. Well, it's going to be a similar emotion, I'm afraid, for him and Newcastle this year. They have, of course, qualified for Europe, and that's due to Manchester United winning the double. Newcastle will be in the revamped UEFA Cup next season. Prince of Wales just handing those runners-up medals over to the Newcastle players. They came here hoping to win the Cup for the first time in 44 years, but it's, Jimmy, 44 years and counting now.
Yes, it is. And I think the thing is, too, about Newcastle, I think we should say something about them. If they're going to get any real progress from where they are now, Mike, I think they've got to do something about the back players. They've got to get that sorted out. Until you get your back sorted out properly, I don't think Newcastle have. And I think until they do that, they'll continue to have what I would call a good season, but without being really successful.
Well, the elusive double it used to be called, so hard to pull off. But in the 1990s, this club in red, Manchester United, have done it 3 times. 1994, 1996, 1999. Kino, there's only one Kino, the fans sing. Never mind Bayern Munich for the moment and that possible treble. Manchester United have achieved something that no other team has achieved. In the FA Cup, they're the first club now to get into double figures. Triumph number 10 for them. And here comes their number 16, Roy Keane, making up for the disappointment of the early injury. It might take just a little longer than usual for the captain to climb the steps. The Prince of Wales is waiting. The red and white streamers already attached to the FA Cup. Roy Keane, followed by goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel, arrives in the royal box. And Roy Keane, limping but with a huge smile on his face, is as keen as mustard to get his hands on this trophy.